Hey guys, Honda here. I finished that booster system that I was working on. Um, I had to make some modifications to it. There were some problems that I was running into when I started to stretch this thing out, as I talked about in I think it was the WIP video, that I wanted to move that booster away from this wall area right in here because I wanted to put blocks in this area. And one of the problems that I ran into when I started moving this thing around is that this section back in here started to snake a little bit. In order to get through this corner, I was having some problems with. So it was kind of hokey, and it really wasn't working right. So I decided to quit messing around with it and just make this system the way I really ideally intended it to come to fruition, and that was just to have these legs straight like this turn just a simple 90 degrees instead of again having this sort of snaky thing to get around this corner here. This turned out really well, in fact, better than I anticipated. One of the problems also that I ran into when I started moving this thing around is, aside from it snaking over there, I was starting to lose a lot of power in this second booster system. So that's another reason why I decided to stretch this out a little bit. I wanted to make this booster a little longer because it was only traveling like 3 blocks or so, kind of like right in this area is where I had this block. And when it was only traveling those 3 blocks like that, it just wasn't generating enough power. So the end result here ended up being the best, and I'm quite happy with it. Um, it's really simple to make. As you can see, it's just a simple little booster here that are real common on YouTube. Uh, One of the things that I've seen in the YouTube boosters is they've only had one drop section down here where I have two. So I've kind of stretched this out a little bit, and again, that makes more power whenever you have it a little longer like that. Um, and then again, this booster here being a little longer, it making more power as well. In that earlier video, I mentioned down in here there was a uh, long incline, and I mentioned I was going to have to make another booster, and that this thing here generates so much power that I can get up that hill. And I'll do a ride on that thing in just a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm talking about just on how crazy this thing is and it generating so much power. Um, it does so well, actually, that if you run, this is sort of like its idle state, but if you run it in its alternate state, where it's sending the car down the track to boost you, it can stay running in this position and not, sort of dissipate its power. That's how efficient it is, and that's what I really like about it. Um, just to kind of get the spacing down, like I talked about in this section here, this is a simple, just a circular booster with a two space drop or a 2 block drop down in here. And this booster here is, I didn't really count it out yet, but 2, 3, 4, 6 spaces on this booster. So just a 2 space booster over there, a 6 one here. And then I think the rest you could probably figure out on your own. It's basic 90 degrees. This section here, uh, I would not recommend. I would not recommend this be any fewer than 2 blocks. I don't think you would get. I haven't tested it yet, but I don't think you would get a uh, good feeder car if you only gave 1 block. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't tested it. But anyway, this is it. Pretty simple. I'll just kind of stand back a little bit so you can get an idea of what it looks like if you want to pause the video, and I'll kind of move around a little bit so you can get a good feel for it. I'll go over the wiring again in just a minute. I went over it in detail in the WIP video. But there you go. And again, I'm really quite pleased with it, so I'll kind of go to all 4 corners. So in case you wanted to look at it and pause the video, this is what it looks like. To go over the wiring, there's, let me look at the switches here. There's 2 switches. This one starts and stops the feeder car. So you can see there, now it's doing its loop. Start it again. I'll go through here. Okay. This other switch does this one here. I've got a down track and then another track over here, and it, you can see there, just switches that. This particular switch here is wired here, and it runs down here, and it's a simple down to the redstone torch, and that's what switches the track. The other switch that switches this one comes through this block here and runs up here. I had to stretch it out a little bit, so in the last video I only I think I jumped twice, and in this time I have to jump 3 times. The switching the poles goes through there and through the wall. Yeah, I've got some blocks. I just go and knock that out. It's right through there. That's it. Like I said, I'll take a ride on this real quick so you can kind of see just how much power this thing generates. So anyway, it turned out really well, and I think you guys would be pleased with it. It takes a little bit more space than I intended, but like I said, the end result was a heck of a lot of power. As you'll see here, it'll climb this hill with no problem at all. So, and got plenty of room to go. So yeah, it's a pretty good little system. I like it. Anyway, if you guys are interested, you need some help or anything like that, I ran into some problems along the way. I didn't cover them in the video, but if you run into any problems, just give me a comment, and I'll see if I can help you through it. Anyway, take care, guys.